everybody. Welcome to today's episode of Coming Up Milhouse. And Vera watched it with us today. It was Season 6, Episode 2, Lisa's Rival.
That's right. Lisa meets a new girl in school named Allison, and it turns out that Allison does everything that Lisa likes to do, only slightly better.
Hey, Allison, what's the answer to number 9? I can't tell you, Ralph. I can't tell you either, Ralph. Leave me alone.
And it leads to a little bit of jealousy that plays out as the episode goes forward. Also, we get a subplot where Homer finds a big tanker full of sugar on the side of the road and decides that he is going to sell it for a profit and make his riches, but it doesn't quite work out the way he hoped, and we'll get into that when we get into our lines. What is your line number 1?
I'm actually going to jump right into that subplot. Read your town charter, boy. If foodstuffs were to touch the ground, it is to be turned over to the village idiot. And since I don't see him around, start shoveling. That was Homer, because he and Bart stumbled across the tanker of sugar that Hans Moleman was driving, and it crashed, and the sugar was all over the ground, and Homer gave him a quarter to go call for help, but it was a distraction for Hans to go away so Homer can take over the sugar.
Good stuff. Well, my first line is actually a line directly before that. And Homer's talking to Bart when they find the sugar, and he says, "We hit the jackpot here. White gold, Texas tea, sweetener."
Yep.
That whole part is... I'm going to just call it right now. I enjoy the subplot part more than the Lisa rival part of this episode. So a lot of my stuff is going to skew toward that. Just going to give you a heads up.
No worries. Sounds accurate to me.
What about number 2?
I always thought I had the tallest hair, but that trip to Graceland was a real eye-opener. So Marge was letting Lisa know that she has had some rivals in her life and has been proud of herself for having the tallest hair until she went to Graceland, where apparently people have taller hair than that.
Never been, but
nope.
I would be interested in seeing that.
I'm sure there's a lot of hairspray involved, for sure. What about you?
All right, so Homer has been skipping work to sell sugar, and Marge tells him, the plant called. They said, if you don't come in tomorrow, don't bother coming in Monday. And Homer says, woohoo, 4-day weekend! Because he's too dumb to know that they were alluding to the fact that he's going to lose his job if he doesn't go to work.
Oh, Homer. Homer.
Oh, man, good stuff.
What's your favorite scene?
I was going back and forth. Again, it's part of the sugar subplot. I couldn't help myself, but I went with the sugar melting scene. So Homer puts all this sugar in a big pile in the backyard. All right, and he's guarding it, and he's like he's
guarding it poorly.
Yeah. And all these bees show up, and he's like, "Get out, bees!" Blah blah blah. Well, these beekeepers want their bees back, so they go to pay Homer a lot of money to get their bees, and then it starts raining. And the sugar starts melting, the bees fly away, and Homer's flipping out because he just lost his chance at riches, and he does the whole Wizard of Oz thing. Melting! The sugar's melting! Oh, what a world, what a world. So that was good, so that's what I went with.
Well, I'm going to go with Lisa is practicing her saxophone at the beginning of the episode in the house, and Bart gets annoyed with her and tells her to knock it off when she's just practicing in her room, and he starts kicking the wall, knocks her out of her room. She goes downstairs into the garage where Homer is fixing Marge's camera, and he's fixing it by using a drill and a hammer, and it's a really nice camera. And Homer uses the drill, and he uses the hammer to pound the drill, and the camera explodes, and he says that he thinks he needs a bigger drill to fix the problem.
He's hammering the drill like...
Yes. And then she gets out of the garage and goes in, and Marge is reading Love in the Time of Scurvy. And it bothers Marge to hear the saxophone, and then Maggie puts her 2 pacifiers in her ears because it's bothering her as well. So I went with the Lisa practicing scene.
I love it. That was very good.
Mostly because of the camera.
The camera. All right.
Oh boy. Who's your winner this week?
I had a hard time figuring out who could be a winner, but I ended up going with Hans Moleman. Because Hans Moleman, as you mentioned, was the driver of the truck, and he peels off that sticker that says, "How am I driving?" And then Homer gives him the quarter to go call for help, because this is the time before cell phones. And I figured Hans didn't die in the wreck, and peeling off the sticker will like keep him from getting like complained about. And he got a quarter to go call for help.
Nice.
So I figured, you know, you gotta throw Hans a bone every now and then, because he doesn't win very often. So there we go. What do you got for him?
I'm going with the British tea drinker because he apparently likes sugar in his tea, so he's kind of just living in the pile of sugar in Homer's backyard.
Homer just pulls him out of the sugar, and he's like, thank you.
And then he comes back a little bit later, so it's just amusing to me. So I went with him. Free sugar.
Free sugar guy. Enjoying that Texas tea sweetener.
Yep. What about your loser?
I was kind of going around and around, and I ended up, I'm going to throw something at the plot with Lisa, and it's going to the diorama. So they're at the end of it, they're making dioramas, and Lisa's all flipping out because she doesn't want to lose to Allison again. And it turns out that Ralph wins because he has a bunch of Star Wars figures. But I'm going to give him the loser because at the very end of the episode, he trips and falls, and he bends up all the prepackaged Star Wars
his Wookiee.
He says, "I bent my Wookiee." And you look at the picture, and they're all tore up and bent up. And I was like, ooh, that hurts. So, Ralph, you won the diorama thing, but you bent your Wookiee. There it is. What do you got for losers?
I'm going with the Feds. Because obviously they're a little bit gullible. They're gullible enough to believe Bart, who has sent them on a wild goose chase around town for someone that he goes to school with.
This is true.
So I went with the Feds because they are just wasting a lot of time chasing a student who probably has no reason to be on their list.
And that, you know, they can't catch a 4th grader. You know, they're running into monkey bars or chasing him in the fugitive style through the sewers, and he's escaping. So yeah, that is.
They spent a lot of money on that chase that Bart sent them on. So they're my losers this week.
I like it. I like it. Good one.
And as always, thank you for watching Coming Up Milhouse with us. And if you haven't subscribed, go ahead and click on the subscribe button. Give us a thumbs up, thumbs down. Share your comments below. We'd love to see your favorite lines, your favorite scenes, your winners and losers, or anything else you'd like to share with us. And again, this was episode 2 of season 6, Lisa's Rival. And until next time,
Jiminy Jillikers!
Sugar Man! Door-to-door sugar. What a marvelous idea. What's that, Mother? I'm just talking to the sugar man. Mother, I'm a big boy. I can do as I wish. Excuse me.